We have to do the pledge. 6 o'clock. It's right over here. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so if I could have everyone look at the consent agenda, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So we'll go to school board celebrations. Mike, did you want to tell your?
Well, I'll just start with our athletic teams have had quite a successful fall with the swim team just qualified for state and had representation there. I think they ended up 11th in the state, and football team that was that won the conference again and made the playoffs. And the middle school girls cross country were conference champs. Varsity was conference champs, and we had state representation in cross country with the girls team. And then Tom McCarthy was second in the state. Quite amazing accomplishments for students.
Thank you.
Yep. I just want to shout out the coaches because they do a phenomenal job and give up a lot of time outside of the school day. And I was able to attend the banquet for the football players. And I know Matt Willett always did a great job with cross country. It's so personalized to the students and they really know their strengths and really also talk up what they like to see in players to the younger players. So that's nice. Oh, and just the musical was phenomenal. Every
it was.
piece of it was amazing.
Great.
I was just gonna say the food service staff and Veterans Day. My dad, who has very limited short-term memory, has not stopped talking about how nice the breakfast was, and he really enjoyed it. So,
Guys.
I went to the 6th grade band concert, so kudos to those kids.
that's what I was gonna say too.
Especially the ones that did the little solos. Takes a lot for your 5th month into playing an instrument. So. And Trisha, obviously, that's going to be
Trisha Walheim.
Yeah, Trisha Walheim for her patience in that.
She's good.
Mine was just to the music department, the musical, so many kids and the teachers for giving their time, and hallelujah, it's over, but they did a great job.
Mike and Nick and I went to the staff advisory committee meeting. They had a special meeting just for us. And I just wanted to do a shout out that was nice that they allowed us to come. I thought, unless one of you want to contribute to, I thought that it was a very good dialogue. We got a lot of very good information. I put a lot of that in the update, but it was really nice. And I appreciate that they had an extra meeting, spent about 45 minutes with us. And I think we got good feedback that we can use in our school board goals. We were asked to come back, so we didn't do anything wrong. So we'll go again. So I just wanted to say that. Are we good? Okay, so then we are moving on to Time to Shine.
So we talk a lot about people services team here at Clay, so I wanted to take the opportunity for you to be able to meet them and put some faces to names and let them share with you what each of their roles is. Ms. Van Kuyk, Sarah Van Kuyk is our school social worker. She's not able to be here this evening, but they will still introduce what she does for the team. So I would like to introduce Ms. Jennifer Schindel and Ms. Michelle Schwartz. Is this big enough for everybody to see? Full screen? Oh yeah, I always forget to put
that. My name is Michelle Schwartz. Professionally, I taught for about 8 years English as a second language, suburbs of Chicago, and now am a student support teacher here. My job looks a lot like responding to walkie calls, students who may be having big feelings, students who may need a break from the classroom. I do sub in classrooms from time to time. I tell the kids all the time, I like to go to recess, I like to go to art class. They see me all the time walking down the hallways, just being a part of their daily routines. Ms. Schendel kind of put this together for me, so she has a lot of grace and kindness. But my day-to-day looks like the kids' everyday day-to-day. I'm the good morning hug. I'm the lunch bunch. I am what the kids need when the kids need it.
Wait, can you go back 1 second? I don't know if everybody saw the last bullet point, relentless thoughtfulness and positivity that spreads across the school to uplift all students and staff with cards, treats, and her delicious soups.
Did you bring some
Truly
soups
the
for us?
kindness.
I did make a meal. Tortilla soup. And it was apple pie today. So. And speaking on this is not my favorite, so if you clap at the end, positive reinforcement, people, I may come back. So Sarah Van Kuyk, who's not here, is the school social worker. She kind of focuses on attendance. She's really good with making those phone calls with parents, making those face-to-face connections with the students that are struggling with attendance. She addresses the basic needs. So we are in the process of building like an on-site food pantry so that we can do a weekend backpack program and essentially just kind of addressing the needs of students who needs a little extra food to get through the weekend. She is the first on deck to fill in for the EBD room, and she provides a calm and positive space for the students in there to process through those emotions. And then she's second on deck for the walkie calls. She goes above and beyond in finding what the students need and getting it for them. And she's all about polka dots and rainbows. So if you go walking through the hallway, she has the door that is covered in, what is it, pink? Pink polka dots. With pink polka dots and rainbows on it. So that's really cool to see. You got it? You got the magic touch? Thank you so much. And I'm Jennifer Schendel. I'm the school counselor. So I focus on helping students understand and process through their emotions with an emphasis on CBT or cognitive behavioral therapy to deter unhealthy behavior and thinking patterns to continue. So I teach students how to improve communication and relationships. I'm always on the lookout for like effective counseling methods and curriculum. And make a school counseling program that we can see, like there's a measurable difference that we can see. So kind of looking at some data and that kind of stuff, which I'll need time to build. I am a behind the scenes person. I'm a passionate introvert. I see nothing but growth opportunity at Berlin. And it's a kind of an inside joke between the team that I'm most likely to climb fidget breaks because I'm like all about change and teaching.
All right, so that's a little bit about them, and they visited each classroom and kind of introduced themselves and the role that they will play with the classrooms. And I just realized I should have done this before. Oh, no. Sorry, I had to. I was just gonna try to make it bigger. Sorry, I should have done that with the last one. All right, so this is the what they introduced with each classroom. Did you go in 4K? You did, right?
Did you go to 4K?
K5?
Yeah, we definitely went to kindergarten.
Yeah.
Near every single room.
That way the kids were able to see who they are, especially since we had a new team. So they were able to see faces with faces so that when they respond to classrooms, the kids would know what's going on.
So when we run around to the rooms, this was the presentation. I let the kids know, and they do know that I have 4 of my own children who go here, so I'm highly invested in this school, and I would ask them to start and tell them that I absolutely love the school, and raise your hand if you love the school, and you see all those little hands go up, super excited to be there. And then I love my school, I love my children, I do love them. And that is I fiercely am guilty of just loving all these children so much. A little more about me is we have so many cats and so many fish. I'm gonna show you the pic. Oh, here we go. And so here are,
You have a giraffe?
that is what I said. That is what I said. I said, so we have so many cats and we have so many fish that for some absurd reason, their mother thinks it's a good idea to keep them in coffee jars, coffee mugs around my house, the coffee pots. So we have coffee pots of fish around our home, so many. And then we have a pet giraffe and the kids will go, what? We do not have a pet giraffe, but we do have many cats and many fish that we keep in the coffee pot. So that's a little bit about me. And then I would tell them that, my favorite thing is the memories and adventures with my own children. But on top of that, that we get to, and I can't wait to create all the memories and adventures this school year with each of them, that we are truly looking out to have the best school year ever. Oh, and so before I go on to Miss Van Kuyk, I think that I was thinking about this morning and pupil services team and kind of what does that mean? And I believe it's really all about connections and then connections building trust. And so that my lovely daughter, and there was no fish killed in the production of this, is that every single connection is a marvel, right? So if it starts out empty, a good morning is a marvel, a hug is a marvel, a Band-Aid when you need it is a marvel. And I always think of first my own children as breakfast is a marvel, right? They know I'm gonna make them breakfast. I'm gonna give them a Band-Aid. I'm gonna dry their tears, marvel, marvel, marvel. So when that big crisis comes, their container is full of marvels. And they know when I say it's going to be okay, that it's going to be okay. Because we have built the connections, we've built the trust, it is full. We have all had those professional relationships too, where we have a boss that, everything breaks down, they're gonna cut the workforce and they say, it's going to be okay, trust me. And you say, all I've ever gotten is an email. There are no marvels. I'm thankful that I work with a bunch of people who have built marvels upon marvels upon marvels. When they say it's going to be okay, I know it's going to be okay. Similarly with our children, we know big life things are going to come. There is going to be crisis, there's going to be hard times. And so every marvel, every good morning, every hug, marvel, marvel, marvel. So when that big time comes, they have that relationship, that trusted relationship to go to. It is already built, it's established. So I kind of see PST as we're just putting marvel upon marvel upon marvel so that when they need us, that we're ready and they can trust us. I can't do them texting every time.
All right. So Ms. Van Kuyk, this was her slide that she would show to the classrooms. She would talk about her dog that eats everything, and she would add a few stories on top of that because that little guy would literally just eat everything. And then that was her as Bob the Builder as a kid, and she knew that she wanted to be a helper when she grew up. And she loves being silly, and she loves Snoopy, and she is just so positive and such a great person to work with. I love having her on the team.
Yeah, she's pretty rainbow and polka dots.
Yeah. And this is me. I have 2 kids, both college age. So I'm super proud of all of that they're accomplishing. I have a dog, I have a bunch of ducks at home, and that is my peaceful spot. So they immediately start following me when I come home until I start dropping food. And then I love sitting there and watching them eat and mess with each other and that kind of stuff. And then I make a connection with the students that I'm new to clay. So I love it when they can teach me things about clay, or if they are new themselves, we are learning together. Any questions?
Our team.
No, thank you for coming.
It's not a question, but just thank you so much for being here. We know the importance of strong relationships with our kids and loving them and challenging them and encouraging them, challenging them again. And I don't know, I just loved your presentation. It really touched my heart because that's what the core of what we're doing is, right? And every child deserves a lot of champions around them. You can tell that you guys are champions for our kids. So thank you for being here and committing so much of your life to our kids. It takes all of us. So thank you.
Thank you again.
Good job.
We can clap again.
Good job at the veterans program.
Allison, do we have, no? Okay, so we'll move on to the Clay Lamberton academic and.
Should look at the agenda. I would have missed those. Now I have to reconnect. Sorry, I didn't look at the agenda ahead of time to see that I was ready. So now it's taking a minute.
That's okay, we're all just looking at you.
Something I enjoy very much. All right, this one's a regular slideshow, so. Okay, so just as a reminder, what are the first 3 goals this year are, like I said before, pretty much the same thing. We didn't meet them last year, so we just changed from where we were to continue closing that gap. All academic, one is the gap between students with disabilities and students without disabilities. One has to do with the iReady math assessment, and one has to do with the iReady reading assessment. The students with disabilities without is with forward. So some of the new things that we've put in place this year to help meet those goals is each teacher, each grade level has come up with ways to do data chats with their students around the data. So the only requirement around this was that they had to develop something that the students would be involved in also. So data chats were happening before, where they would call students over and show them their data, but now the students are interacting with it. So a couple examples of that. So first grade built this. So with Act 20, we were doing it before, but we do oral reading fluency. That's when the students read for 1 minute and you track how many words per minute that they read. So they have built this tracker for the students, and they help the students. So these black lines kind of show the different percentiles and where the students should be at each level. So the date of the test that they took in the fall, then they mark off, like let's say the student got 13, they'll kind of draw a line there and the student will color in to 13. So they're actually interacting with what they've done. As young as kindergarten, the students are setting goals. So they are let me take that back. In 4K, they're setting goals. They may not exactly know what they're looking at, but the teachers will tell them, like, so if you're here and we want to be here next time, what would be a good thing? Some of the kids will be like, I want to do 100 words per minute. So they have to walk it back a little bit, but we do encourage that. Like, okay, so we have to work really hard to get that and set it a little bit. So that's a first grade one. Then we get up to an example of 5th grade, and it gets a lot more involved. They keep track of everything that they're doing. So they're keeping track of their math diagnostic, their math facts that they're doing. We do a number sense screener. Then they set goals for their win time, like what are the things that they need to work on during win. And then they have it set, so that was math, and then they also have it separated for CKLA. So it gets very involved, and then the 5th graders are not just having the conversations, they're also doing a self-evaluation before they have a conversation with the teacher. One thing that the People Services team didn't talk about that they're starting this year is every student, remind me, 3rd through 5th? Yep. Every student 3rd through 5th grade is meeting kind of like they do in high school when they meet as a freshman and stuff, and they're talking about goals that they're setting, academic, and what they want to do when they grow up, so that we can then tie that back into there. That's been going really well, and it also ties into the data chats here. So this is the kindergarten and 4K are using the same one. So the same type of concept of, this is for letters and letter sounds. And then the students are coloring in in the fall which letters they know, and which letter sounds they know. So they're gonna be able to see, this is fall, winter, spring, they'll be able to see that growth there. So, and then they also do it for how many letter names they know and how many letter sounds they know, beginning, middle, and end. So it was really exciting watching them build that as a grade level team of how they wanted that to look. 4K and kindergarten kind of did it together. First grade and second grade kind of did it together so that the students are taking a couple years as they go through. So that's been a big positive. So we took something that we've already been doing and just enhanced it a little bit. Classroom visits by me, this isn't new, but I never shared this out before. So after each diagnostic, I go into every classroom that takes it, so 1st through 5th grade, and I share with them their classroom data, and I show them, I should have probably linked it, so I show them their graphs on what it looks like as a class, and talk about, so fall is a nice place to do the baseline, but the really fun one is in the winter, because I show them like where their assessment is, but then it has those growth graphs, and they can see it, and a lot of times, especially in the younger grades, the growth ends up having like a star or something because they make so much growth as younger, and they like love the stars. They think it's so great. And then I'm able to introduce forward. I look at the report card data. I look at the forward data with each of the classes, 3rd through 5th. And then I share with them what they did last year. And then I revisit it again in May. I have students, literally yesterday, a little second grade, I can't wait to take the winter iReady. Like, they love when I come in and share that. As they get older, they may not listen to me all the time, but I still am in there and I'm still cheerleading and I'm still comparing, and I will even compare the classes. So it's a little, they don't know whose class is whose, but I'll be like, so this is where your class is and this is where the other 2 classes are. That's made a really big difference in them owning what they're doing on that and keeping track of their lessons and stuff. This year, I also started sending letters to families about the classroom data. So each family gets their student data at parent-teacher conferences, and then we'll send it out in winter and spring so they see it. So because I tried to do this with a family meeting, but it's really hard for people to join us in the middle of the year. So this is a 1st grade example. So I just tried to explain what I was doing here, and these are the graphs that I show the students too. So then I show like where the kids are starting in 1st grade. Each grade level has a different letter because their graphs are different. And then I explain, this is a really exciting one actually. So in the beginning of the year, I can't remember if I shared this already or not, so I'm just gonna repeat myself real quick. So this yellow in the beginning of the year is technically green because they're 1st graders, but they should be testing at the kindergarten level. So the fact that we had 91% of our students ready to rock and roll in 1st grade is more than I have ever seen giving iReady before, even from years ago in my other school. So the things that we're putting in place in our early literacy are really showing. So then I just go on and explain what each of the domains are and then what parents can do at home to kind of help those pieces and what we're looking for at that grade level. So like a 5th grade level isn't going to talk about phonological awareness. It's going to talk about vocabulary and comprehension. And then I do the same thing for math. And then I just email those out to families, and I will follow up in winter so they can see the classroom data again as a whole. Not only for comparison's sake, but I want families to know what we're doing is impacting their children on a more regular basis, and trying to get people in is just, it's difficult. Everybody's busy. High leverage instructional practices, Act 20 training. The thing that I love the most about the Act 20 training that I didn't think about before we started it is basically our VASD instructional design is hammered so much in Act 20. It's gradual release, it's getting kids involved, it's movement. So making sure that there's a clear learning target, making sure that the kids know what's expected, and making sure that you're following up to make sure they master that lesson at the end. And I've been walking in, when I walk into some classrooms, I feel like I'm watching some of those Act 20 videos, the things that the teachers are putting into place. with the early literacy training, not only with the letters and sounds and words, but just in general, following that instructional design. The difference I see in our classrooms this year to last year is unbelievable. And I tell staff all the time, like I want them to get out like on their prep and just walk through classrooms because it is such a marked difference, even in the quality of student work is totally different. And I think it's all about talking about learning. Like it's made a huge impact. Item analysis of forward. This is something that I'm doing with 3rd through 5th grade teachers. This is a really busy thing. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea. So this compares each standard that's on the forward to where we were 2 years ago technically, and then where we were last spring. What's nice is you can see so this standard, we've been in the red a couple years in a row now. It's getting better, but it's still not where we want to go. So if I click on this, it's going to tell me the standard, the piece of the standard that's tested there, and we can dig into that a little bit more. So that really helps. And as you can see, I can do that for ELA and math, social studies and science. I'll be honest, we really focus on ELA and math right now on that. But that will help us as we continue the work that we've done with math standards into our ELA standards too.
Is 3 too, is that my main idea, kind of, more or less?
I used to have them memorized.
Summarizing, okay. Key details.
Always summarizing. And then writing curriculum, we introduced a new one, K3 last year. 4th and 5th it wasn't part of this package deal. There is a book called The Writing Revolution that is pretty revolutionary. And it really starts students out with sentences, like how do you write a strong sentence? And then it builds to paragraphs, and there's a lot of activities in there about transitions and grammar lessons, and it goes into a short essay and then a longer paragraph essay. It covers note taking. We've built a pretty robust, well, I won't say unit because across the year for both 4th and 5th graders. The teachers are really enjoying it because it's very specific on how they teach it, which is really hard in writing. That's one of the biggest things it's like, how do you teach someone how to write, right? So much so that I can't wait to see how that plays out because I'd like to go back because you could start this in kindergarten with the sentence piece. So we might build that back down to kindergarten rather than using this packaged program. So that's been really cool to see and pretty excited. So we'll see how that plays out. Our last goal was
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Before we go. So did I understand you're doing this 3 times a year, spring, or fall, winter, and spring, 3 times a year? You're doing
like
these
visiting
chats
the classrooms? Yep.
Yeah. I want to just ask, on goal number 1, just the way it's put, I struggle with that because we could have our students without disabilities do great, and our students with disabilities do equally great, and you're not going to close the gap. And or you could have your students without disabilities not improve, and your others do, and it looks like you did something, but the top group didn't. Would you consider saying this is what our proficiency goals are for those 2 groups, so we could see more concretely what the advancements are, and the goal being that with disabilities is advancing a higher percentage to get that gap closed, but just so we could see that we're closing that gap, but both of them are moving forward? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do. This goal is so it's keeping kids that are proficient. So proficient can be anywhere from 80% to 100%, let's say. So keeping that, so you're looking for that growth goal is what you're looking at. This is just students that are meeting proficiency. So I want them to stay proficient, but I also want the students with disabilities to grow closer to proficient. So I'm closing that gap. But in order for that gap to be closing, the students that are proficient have to stay proficient. I'm not measuring if they're proficient and moving higher. That's a growth goal. That's in the other 2. So those are 2 different things. And I'm measuring that for a reason because I need that gap to close.
So you're not actually just using the number, you're just using the category of proficient?
Yes.
Not that they're not looking at what you're describing, but for this purpose of this goal, it's what she was describing. Yeah, they still look at the other one.
So I do, but, okay, when I read that though, you understand what I'm saying with, if, it
I
seems
do,
to me.
you're saying like the proficiency, like, so let's say the kids that are proficient, all of a sudden, so if let's say there's 50% proficient, all of a sudden it can drop to 30%, and then I'm closing the gap because now all the proficient students fell, is what you're saying.
Well, I was looking at it like you have an average proficient, or you have a group that's got a score that's in a proficient range. That group still is gonna, you want them to advance, but would they be advanced or would they still be in the proficient range?
Meeting or advanced is still considered proficient. Proficient just means you have that skill. So you're looking at the growth goal. Like I want all of the students to meet their growth goals, meaning even if they were proficient last year, I want them to meet their stretch growth goals going up so that they're not staying
So Sarah, to
stagnant.
say that a different way, I think what the purpose of this goal is that regardless of disability or no disability, you want there to be as little or no gap as possible.
Right.
So we're really, the purpose of this goal is we know one of our areas. So when we look at like the state report card, the school report card, it's the lowest 25%, because we have almost 25% or right around there of our kids. Actually, it's even higher. But as a whole district, let's just say 25 to 30% of our whole student body are kids with disabilities. Pretty much all of our target group, not completely, but a lot of that target group are our kids with disabilities. So one thing I challenged, and we as a group challenged each other, is that we want to make sure we had a goal structured in some way from each of the schools that related to our kids with disabilities, because we know that is our target group largely. And this is a good effort at trying to say we want that gap to not be there. Ultimately, if we're doing the right thing, both groups are gaining proficiency, but that gap between how many are proficient that aren't disabled and how many are proficient that are disabled is eliminated or reduced greatly. And that's the point of what.
Yeah, so in this goal, I'm only looking at proficient, not proficient.
Yeah.
I'm not looking at approaching, developing, meeting, exceeding. I'm only looking at two categories.
Okay.
And based on all my other goals, that means that that proficient can't go down so that the not proficient goes up or meets it. So the last goal is around the behavior. The 0 to 1 major referrals will increase from 87% to 92%. Right now, in close to the end of November, we're at 94%. I don't know if we're gonna meet that goal. That's okay, because we are documenting as we should and making sure that we're following through. So I wanted to show you, well, I'm gonna jump to this one. So, well, no, I'll go this way first. So some new things that we've done to help me meet that goal is being more cognizant of providing follow-ups to staff. So I know one thing that staff has asked for is to make sure that they have an understanding of what happened when the student was removed or what was going on. So I either do that through the NextPath system, speak with them, or send an email to them so they know how I followed the code of conduct and it didn't just turn into nothing. When students come to the office, I go over the shared code of conduct, I share the code of conduct with them each time. So a couple kids have heard it multiple times. I look at what's expected. There's a section in there about what the expected behaviors are. I show them the different categories of behaviors that are not expected and how the levels work. I also will have them, especially if it's multiple times they've seen me, they will help determine what the level is and what that consequence is then based on what it says in the code of conduct. When talking with parents, I'm trying to use code of conduct language quite a bit and explaining like this is a level 3 offense, so it means it's an out of school suspension or whatever it is. When we meet as a people services team, we are able to look at that 94% that I just showed you, and we're able to see who are the students that are not meeting that, and going through kid by kid to see like what do we have in place, and if we don't have something in place, what are we going to do to help that. I just had a meeting this afternoon, and we had a student that will probably stay on that list all year long, because in 1 month there was 8. However, since the beginning of October, because of things that we put in place and working with the family, she hasn't had any since then. So we are seeing a lot of good things come from the stuff we're doing, but there's a lot of learning to do at Little Band. So to follow that up with the check-in on the staff perception survey, I sent out a quick survey with 2 questions based on the same questions that we give on the staff perception survey. So the first one is, our staff handles student discipline in a consistent manner. Last spring, I had 25. I was worried when I only saw 22 responses, and I just did this with the teachers for this time, so I could parse it out a lot easier. I was worried when I saw 22, but then I noticed in the spring, we only had 25 with the actual school perception survey, so it's pretty much about the same. In the spring, 12% agreed with that, 88% disagreed. School perceptions takes out the column 3, but if you add those up, we are up to 59% agreeing and 18% disagreeing. So I feel pretty confident that things that we're putting in place and how we're talking about it as a staff is making quite a bit of difference.
And I appreciate that we talked about this as a board, that instead of just doing this one point in time of doing these little like dipstick, little pulse survey, he's pulling out a couple of those key ones and doing it more frequently. So I appreciate your attempt at doing that like on a quarterly basis.
Yeah, well, one thing we heard from the staff, like with my continuous improvement team too, is when we always ask in the spring like that, they're tired. Like, it's not a great time to ask people all of those questions. Like, it's, what is it, May? Like, they're trying to wrap up and everything's amplified. So I think doing it a couple times will help to kind of even out, like, is it a time of year thing too? It will help us know, like, do we need to up some support in the spring?
So how recent was that?
Last week.
Last week?
I just put it out last
And
week.
you had a 3 though, where the other one, they could choose 3 as a response?
I did it exactly like School of Perceptions does it. So 1 is strongly.
What she was saying by
Strongly
the 3, Mike, is that when School Perceptions reports
Thank
the
you.
data, they eliminate the 3, but you can choose 3. It's on the choice. She's just showing us what it is.
Okay, I thought they were going to do 1, 2, 3,
No.
4,
You can
5.
report it. They just, when they group them together, like they agree or they disagree, they eliminate the 3s. If you agree, it's the top 4 or 5s are added together. If you disagree, it's 1 and 2s.
Yeah, they take the neutral ones out because it skews the data.
Yeah, but you can choose a 3 if you want. It's just you're not counted. You choose it.
Our school student discipline practices and policies are effective. Again, same 22 to 25 responses. In the spring, 8% agreed. We are up to 40.9, so 41% agreeing, 92% disagreed, and we are at, I can't see, 31.8% disagreeing. And that is my update.
I think that deserves a standing applause.
Well, thank you.
No, it's positive, right?
It is very
yeah,
positive,
and I think just
yes.
keeping to come back to that, like you said, because the changes made during the year.
Yeah.
And you and I talked about like then using that to share with your staff and say, hey, we're always striving for perfection here, right? So like, let's unpack like why are some saying yes and why are some saying no? And how do we continue to refine the process? So I think that's great.
No, they're working really hard. It's fun to watch.
Thank you, Sarah. I know it takes some time to put this together, and I appreciate that we're seeing your progress and you're adjusting as we go along.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Cassie, did you want to mention that January won't be so terrible?
Oh, well, you can, because it's your thought process.
Well, because we're getting this now, that we thought that then because if you remember in January, we get a mid-year update where all the principals are here and we hear all of these. And instead of doing that, to make sure that the monthly meeting that we're at, focuses on the goals. It drills in deep like Sarah just did.
Yeah, and I shared, after you shared that, Nick, I shared that at our admin meeting, and they appreciate that. But it also helped them know that when they have these moments like Sarah did, and Sarah, you did a great job, that they'll use that wisely, because we want to make sure you're getting more updates that aren't just like one-time shot sort of thing. So hopefully, and please give us feedback that I can relay to them if you want it a little different. But I'm hoping these are useful for you as a board.
Yes, I thought it was
Yeah, it
very
was very
well
good.
done. Yes. It also helps the board because getting all that information at one time is almost overwhelming and it's hard for us to process all that too. Okay, so we'll move on to the WASB delegate selection. It's an action item.
Yeah, so if you remember correctly, this is an annual thing that you're required to do. And if nobody is elected, then the president receives the mailings and is responsible to share it out. So, just giving that as information. But, so I know that right now, the two planned going to the convention in January would be your president, Catherine, and vice president, Nick. But, it's up to you if you want to take action. I just need to let them know.
I'll nominate Nick for BR
Oh, there
delegate.
you go.
Nice job, Rick. Thank you. I'll second that.
Welcome, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nick, are you opposing?
Oh,
He's
abstain.
abstaining.
Oh, okay. Motion carried.
Conflict of interest.
Okay, so we'll move on to the financial update, which, do you have more?
I have just a short little thing. So as we all remember, we approved the budget, you approved the budget and the levy back in October. So as of October 31st, our expenditures total 20% of that budget. And when you approved it, it was by the function. So in our instruction area, we've spent 21% of that amount. The 200,000, which was support services, we're at about 34% spent, and the non-programs are at 0.25%. So we're running very close to where we have in the past. The only difference from the previous year to this year is that we had a little bit more expenditures in the October timeframe because of the ESSER funds. We had to spend them all before and claim them before December. So there is a little bit of a difference that we're below where we were at last year, but it's right on. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you. And then we'll move on to Emmett's update.
Sure. A couple of quick things. One, so I just had my staff advisory council right before, well, 2 meetings ago. It was this afternoon, 3:45 to 4:45. And we are going through the process right now of getting feedback on the academic calendar for next year. So we try hard to get that approved through the board in December. And I think right now we're on track to do that. Just wanted to let everyone know about that. So we start with some different feedback from different groups, and we spent most of our meeting today, I'd say 2/3 of it, going over the academic calendar draft 3, getting some good feedback. They're also, the principals are taking that back to their leadership teams in the building and getting feedback there. So we're on track. Just want to let the board know that. Kind of a shout out to the Paith family. So a member of the Paith family was a Berlin grad and also was an athlete on the wrestling team many years ago. And one of their children, adult children, their family has donated a sizable amount, about $15,000, to update the banners that are in the gym, the high school gym. All the conference banners are modernized now, and they're up or half up, at least half up. I think they're working on the other wall.
I think they're pretty much up. I peeked in there.
Are they? Okay, great. I didn't get a chance to look today. I looked yesterday. So they've been updating that. So we really appreciate the family for donating those. They'll be up for a long time, and we appreciate that. They look really nice. They match the same vertical style as our new conference banners that look really nice on the west side. So I wanted to do a shout out to that. We'll we'll be painting up the walls a little bit too around it, because we noticed when we took some stuff down, it was a little yellow. So we're gonna work on that. It's gonna be a really nice addition. Tomorrow we have the community holiday parade and tree lighting, and our middle school and high school bands march in that. So if anybody's interested in bundling up tomorrow and checking that out, it's always a fun event. And just a reminder, it was mentioned earlier, shout outs and whatever, that we have a number of musical things going on with musical, we have concerts, and in December, before the holidays, we also have concerts for our other groups like the choir, middle school, high school choir, and high school. So encourage everyone to go out to those events and show up for our student athletes and our musicians. And maybe lastly, related to the musical, I don't want to spend too much time on that because it was always shared, but one thing that was new this year about that was, as you know, Abby Lane is our choir director now for both the high school and middle school. And that was a big change. Remember, we talked about it a lot here, but it was a big change for our district. And it was fun to see her kind of get the vision of bringing in those 8th graders to start getting them involved in the school musical. That used to be really traditionally a high school only. And we had, I believe, 8 to 10 8th graders that either behind the scenes or actually on the stage participated. And it was really, got a lot of feedback from families and kids, and just the excitement level of kind of getting them into this great environment and getting them excited for being high schoolers and involvement. So I really appreciate Abby Lane, Ms. Lane, for kind of capturing that vision and trying to build the program and get kids excited. So yeah. Thank you, board, for showing up for these events. We really appreciate it. Thanks to all those out there listening for showing up to support our schools and our kids.
Thank
That's all I
you.
have.
So we will move to school board member updates. Nick, do you have anything?
I don't recall us talking about it in our monthly meeting, but the cell phone ban that was passed. Did we talk? I don't think. We talked about a committee, but I don't know if you just want to give a
Sure, yeah.
paragraph summary of that.
Absolutely, yeah. So it brought up at the policy committee, and we'll be working on it more, but recently Governor Evers signed new legislation at the state level that requires all school boards to have a policy. The date for that is like July, so we have a little bit of time to update our policy to essentially have a policy that's in place to ban communication devices, electronic communication devices for students, which we're really talking about cell phones, but also iPads and other devices, laptops that can communicate electronically with others during instructional time during the day. So in this district, we already have that in place as our practice in our handbooks. Our policy isn't exactly word for word aligned with the law. So Neola, which is the group that we work with, will be working to update that, and then we will bring that through our committee, our policy committee. But the good news is we're already aligned with that, which is nice. There are some exceptions that are laid in the law about like if there's a need for a health reason, like if a student is using their device to monitor their diabetes, or if there's a 504 plan or a special ed plan related to that. But for the most part, there are a lot of exceptions, and I think it's a really good thing. I know that we've talked about this before, but there's a lot of talk across the country and here locally about how to help all of us, actually, not just our kids, get off our screens when they're not absolutely needed, and really not be distracted by them all the time for our learning, but also for social reasons and just for our own mental health. And I think that I'm proud that the state took some action there, and I think what I would consider a positive thing for all of us. So we'll bring that to the committee, like I said, and it has to be done by July, which won't be a problem. We'll probably have it done by the spring. And then if at any point in the future we were to adjust anything, then we just have to send that adjustment to DPI so they know that we made a change. So that's part of the law too.
Did we want to mention the survey that you put in the newsletter that you're?
No, I'll just email it out.
Okay. All right. I just have something real quick. So when we were at the advisory committee meeting, the teachers were very, they really encouraged us to, as Emmett said, attend their events, not just sporting events or musicals, but, go to the Veterans Day or, anything that we can, The only thing that I just want to stress to the board is if you're going to go into the classrooms, if you're going to, come to the school during the school day, to please let the admin team know you're coming. Please don't just show up. Common courtesy, we should tell, Bryant that we're coming, or Colleen that we're coming, or Sarah. So we are encouraged to come into the schools. We're encouraged to go to the events, but if you do come to the school, we're really encouraging that you let them know. So it's, okay. So that's really all I had. So I'm gonna need a roll call.
The community thing.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I looked over there and
I have a community update. The Berlin Friends of the Park group that I'm a part of, we're the ones wearing the green shirts, and we go around and take care of the parks. From about April to beginning of November, we finished up our season. There's about 10 parks in the city that we take care of on Mondays, every Monday, and the 10 parks, and then the Welcome to Berlin signs. So we pull weeds, we plant flowers, do all that kind of stuff. We finished up. We also took care of, did the new planting at the new bathroom at Nathan Strong and put up the trellis, and we did that this year. So there's about 20 of us that are there doing that. In case you're wondering, between the 20 of us, we put in this year 445 hours. We have to report that to the city every year. We have to keep track, and it's usually a lot more time because the city wants to know, because that's like, they want to know like manpower, what it would cost them if they had to hire somebody. But we're always looking for volunteers. If anybody wants to join us, help. And also it might be a good collaboration with the school district, any clubs or like FFA. Anybody wants to join, kids, or even the flowers that they grow, if they're interested in putting any in to the beds, especially Fireman's Park or anything, let me know, because we have 2 master gardeners that I can get them in touch with, and we can do that. But
I love that idea. I know that we have a couple highways that are adopted by groups, right? From high school.
And those Welcome to Berlin signs, we're maintaining that too.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work for us, and but we finish up and we do it. People show up when they can, and they work till whenever they want. So
if you have extra time, do you like maybe come to my house and clean my garden?
Yeah, mine is like neglected. I originally just got so I could get outside and get fresh air, and to learn like what is a different type of flower versus a weed, and to learn to have color all year round, and I'm still not. But it's really nice. But anyway, so that's one of the things we just wrapped up on.
thank you, Sarah. I'm sorry I bypassed you.
Yeah, I'm used to it.
We are going to go into closed session, so.
I will move to go into closed session.
Second.
I will do a roll call vote. Rick?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Nick?
Yes.
Allison? Mike?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone.